add some agave sweetener to this banana grape seed mixture if you like. I'm not going to add it this time, but it is optional. So I'm using 2 cups of quinoa flour. Pause. I don't know why I always forget to mix my dry ingredients separately from my wet ingredients. It happens sometimes when I'm moving so fast. This is not the first time this has happened with this recipe and other recipes. So just be sure you're mixing your wet ingredients with wet ingredients and your dry ingredients with the dry ingredients first, and get that mixed up well before you proceed to the next step. Especially if it's not a real wet mixture. Like with this recipe, I needed it kind of sticky, so I wouldn't be able to mix it well, but I'm gonna try. And I'll have the recipe in the description box below. Got 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm just using my Redmond's. And I'll put a little bit more, maybe about 1/3 more. Give that a mix. Quinoa. It's a very good flour to use. It has all the amino acids to get complete protein. I got the salt mixed up in there pretty good. Or you can do this recipe the other way and do 2 cups of the sprout flour and 1 cup of the quinoa flakes if you don't really like that taste of the quinoa. I've done it like that plenty of times. So I have my pan here with my parchment paper. And what you want to do is flip the parchment paper on the opposite side so it grabs that pan. You want to take 2/3 of some of your dough and press it in the bottom. Get it spread out evenly. And what I like to do sometimes is put this in first, just so it can cook a little bit, maybe 5 minutes or so. So you can cook the bottom of the crust really well. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of my quinoa flakes. This is just optional. This is a little sticky. That'll help me press it better. See how better that is? Not sticking to my hand. Give me a little bit more dryness I can work with. Okay, I think we got that in pretty good and up to the sides. So what I'm going to do is get ready to add my blackberries. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and make my blackberry jam. This will be my first time using it as a jam. Usually I just add my agave to the oil mixture, the oil banana mixture. So I'm just using these containers. These are, let's see how much ounces, 6-ounce blackberry containers. So I'm going to be using, this is about 2.5. You can use 3 or just use how many you like. We were eating out of these ones, so there's not much left. So I'm just going to mash that down just a little bit so I can get the rest of it in here. So I'm going to be using about 1/4 cup of agave sweetener. You can add up to about 2/3 cups, but I don't like my recipe that sweet. So I'm just going to do 1/4 cup. So I'm adding a squeeze of lemon. I think that'll just balance out the flavor of those blackberries. And you really don't have to add it. It tastes so good with just that agave syrup, those blackberries in there. And I just used about that much of a lemon. Alright, so I'm going to add the rest of my blackberries. And I'm going to leave this kind of on the chunky side. I have a lot of those big chunks in there. While I'm preparing my jam, I just added my crust to the oven. I'll leave it in there for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes or so, just to get the bottom of it cooking. Alright, so I have my crust in for about 10 minutes. I'm going to take it out the oven. You can see that my crust is a little bit browner and darker in color. Usually I don't let it come up that high, especially once we add the balls of dough in there. Alright, next I'm just going to add the rest of the dough. I usually just pump them up like so. And I really like to get those really wet spots around the edges where the liquid pools off at. Just smell that banana in that dough. It smells so good. I'm going to bake this for about 20 minutes. Usually I bake it a lot longer because, like I said, I don't like it too doughy, so I'm going to bake it as long as I can get the crust as hard as I can. But this is a recipe, you can do it how you like. Very versatile. Alright, so I had this in for another 30 minutes in the oven to finish cooking the top layer and the berries, and it turned out really well.